And Alicia, please, you have such a wonderful story. Tell us about this piece.
Yeah, so I was a bit flabbergasted when Seth reached out to invite me to partake this evening because he didn't know this, but I actually have a family member who was basically a grandfather to me who was interviewed in Working.
Whoa.
Yeah, his name was Hots, and yes, that's H-O-T-S, Hots Michaels. He was a piano player in Chicago, and my mom thinks that he and Studs were acquaintances that ran in similar circles, but Hots played at the Sherman Hotel for years in Chicago, and NPR actually released the tape that Studs interviews Hots on. And you can search, if you search for it online, you can listen to the tape, and it's so interesting. He's talking about his history, or his future as a piano player, and I mean, this is like the most full circle thing ever, so thank you so much for having me. And yeah, this piece, it gave me a great reason to read the book. I had only ever read Hotz's 3-page chapter, and as I was reading, I was kind of just jotting down anything that jumped out to me, either personal stories or thematically, and ended up writing sort of a condensed song cycle that we are about to perform. Thanks all. It is about a search for daily meaning as well as daily bread, for recognition as well as cash, for astonishment rather than torpor. In short, for a sort of life rather than a Monday through Friday sort of dying. Perhaps immortality is part of the quest. To be remembered was the wish. Ought not there be an increment, earned though not yet received, from one's daily work, in acknowledgement of man's being? I was constantly astonished by the extraordinary dreams of ordinary people. No matter how bewildering the times, no matter how dissembling the official language, those we call ordinary are aware of a sense of personal worth, or more often a lack of it, in the work they do. Working, working, but is it working for you or for me? And turning, yearning, oh how I'm searching, what could it be? Nora Watson, editor. Jobs are not big enough for people. It's not just the assembly line worker whose job is too small for his spirit, you know? Maggie Holmes, domestic. For generations, all we've done is scrubbing. It's degrading. You can't see any tomorrow there. We want to be doctors and lawyers and teachers. Frank Decker, interstate trucker. Success means you survive. Tim Devlin, janitor, ex-salesman. A lot of people are considered failures, but it's not their fault. Brett Hauser, supermarket box boy. You have to be subservient to people. Being subservient made me resentful. Dolores Dante, waitress. I can't be servile. I give service. There's a difference. Eric Nestorenko, hockey player. It reflects the North American way of life. It's one of the ways you are somebody. You beat somebody. You're better than they are. Somebody has to be less than you in order for you to be somebody. Fred Ringley, ex-salesman, farmer. We were caught up in the American dream. You've got to have a house. Gotta have a country club. Gotta have 2 cars. Here you are at 10 grand to getting nowhere. So I doubled my salary. I also doubled my grief. Working, working, but is it working for you? Your job doesn't mean anything. You're just a little machine. It's really unfair to ask someone to do that. You have a number, you're just an instrument. The last 3 or 4 years on the job were horrible. The computer had arrived. They give better care to that machine than they will to you. Somehow you get the feeling that the machine is better than you are. Somehow you get the feeling that the machine is better than you are. Sometimes I feel like I'm just a robot. You push a button and go this way. You're not regarded. You're just a number, just like a prisoner. A man should be treated as a human, not as a $1 million piece of machinery. People aren't treated as good as an IBM machine is. There ought to be a reason behind what men do. We're not just machines, but some of us live like machines. Somehow you get the feeling that the machine is better than you are. Somehow you get the feeling that the machine is better than you. I'd like to see a building, say the Empire State. I'd like to see one side of it on a foot wide strip. The name of every bricklayer, the name of every electrician, all the names. So when a guy walked by, he'd take his son and say, hey, see, that's me over there. The 45th floor, Picasso can point to a painting, a writer can point to a book. Everyone should have something to point to and say, hey, look. It's food for your soul that you know you did it good. Somebody walks by this building and you say, I did that. Everyone should have something to point to and say, hey, look. Turning, yearning, oh, how I'm searching, what could it be? Hats Michaels, piano player. I know everything in life ends. It's not growing old that worries me, but what would I do? If I were to suddenly inherit $4 million, I guarantee you I'd be playing piano here or some other place. I can't explain why. I would miss the flow of people in and out. Lilith Reynolds, project coordinator. The reasons people get paid now are wrong. I think the reward system should be different. I think we should have basic security, a decent place to live, decent food, decent clothing. So people in a work situation wouldn't be so frightened. People are intimidated, and the system works to emphasize that. Bill Talcott, organizer. I think we have it inside us to change things. We need the courage, because we've been told from the time we were born that what we have inside us is bad and useless. What's true is what we have inside us is good and useful.
Work Cycle by Alicia Walter.